Hi guys, my name is Girish, the host for Back to Basics. And today we are excited and live at the same time in all the platforms, including audio platform, which is Clubhouse. And we are excited to invite the guest Surpeet Bedi into my show, first time ever, and it's great. We are going to be talking to you about public speaking, how tough it is to be speaking in public, and how comfortable it is. So we'll get into the basics of that in Back to Basics. So Surpreet, thank you for coming to Back to Basics. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Every time I'm talking about communication, I'm always happy because this is really my forte. So thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our chat today. And thank you to everybody who's joining us now as well. If you have any questions, you're happy to put them in the chat box as well.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to go and ask you a few questions before we get into the basics, right? About public speaking and what you do and who are you and why are you? But what does Back to Basic mean to you?
I think for me, it's quite simple. It's as basic as it sounds. That no matter where we go and where we evolve, our foundation will always pull us back. And that's just for me as well. It's all right to flower up your language and do all the funky things to your words, but end of the day, it's a very basic thing. Communication is nothing but point A to point B, a crisp message across. Back to basics. That's all I keep saying. Just don't forget the basic agenda behind communication. Don't just go in and go to impress the world. Just know that it's a very basic activity, and don't fear.
Yeah, absolutely. When we connected on thank you so much, by the way, Surpreet. When we connected on Clubhouse, it seems like you and I definitely connected from the get-go when we were talking and chit-chatting on one of the rooms. And when I heard what you were saying and what you stand for and what your bio is, and I'm like, that's a powerhouse lady that I need to bring into my show. So thank you for coming here on my show.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Also, Girish, before you go further, we have a message from Rashmi saying there's a bit of an audio lag disturbance on your side, and the voice is cracking. That's exactly what I hear as well. So I don't know if we need to unmute or mute one thing.
Okay. So do you hear me now? Does everyone hear? Is much better? Okay. Sandeep, if you can just message me on back channel me and tell me, do you hear any echoes now?
Hey Siddham. Thank you for the compliment. Be patient, guys. We're just sorting a few technicalities out. That's just life, isn't it?
Simona, can you hear me on Clubhouse or no?
Thank you, Rashmi. Hey, Jasmine. A big hug to you. You know why?
What we are going to do, it looks like there might be some lag on Clubhouse. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mute ourselves on Clubhouse, if that's okay, because it looks like there's a lot of lag on that side. So we learn as we go on this. So if you are hearing us, please be patient on Clubhouse. But if you can just go live on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, that's where we're going to be having the interview. It looks like there's a lot of echoing almost everywhere. So we're going to put ourselves on mute on Clubhouse. But after when the interview is done, please do come back on Clubhouse on my club, which is Back to Basic Club, and type the word Surpreet in my DM in the Instagram, and you'll get the link for that room that we have scheduled for today. So thank you guys. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and please go live on the video only. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Are you hearing me now? Awesome. So now when we are kind of glitched out, now we're back. Now, let me ask you something about public speaking, if you don't mind. There's some few things which was, I wanted to ask. Is it easy to be a public speaker, or is it just easy just to stand and just say, let me talk?
Sorry, Girish, but I completely lost you. You're very broken right now for me. I couldn't make sense.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, better.
Okay.
Let's start again.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that when you want to do public speaking on stage, is it just easy just going on stage and just chit-chatting? Or is there a way to speak on stage? Let's put it that way.
I have to be honest in saying I was always comfortable on stage, and I feel I was made for stage. But I can learn the art of being on stage. And for some people, especially if you've been doing it in school and doing declamations, or just always, being in front of that assembly, a crowd, will follow naturally. Now, I was the head girl of my school. There were a lot of activities I had to do on stage in assembly. So when I took stage, it was very natural for me. Generally speaking, it's a very simple, back to basic phenomenon that we're talking about public, right? It's all about it's not about you at that moment. It's all about the crowd. So that means it's just not necessarily what agenda you have. It's about, they would remember, literally, they would remember how you made them feel. Did you make them applaud? Did they feel like they liked what they saw? So I give you lots of compliments. Make them feel is what they would remember. So you put audience in your center stage, and that for me, you put public and make sure your focus is them, because your agenda should be around these people. Your target audience, a school. Are you talking to school children? Are you talking to corporate goers? Are you talking to pageant goers? It's going to be a very different audience each time. So you have a real annual delivery accordingly, putting public. Yes, that's how I would answer your question.
Well, sometimes the public speaking needs to be natural, right? And I think that's the only way to be a great speaker. Am I right on that?
Again, so I'm doing a lot of guesswork here, unless you want to put it in chat.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I guess the natural way is the way to go when you do public speaking. Am I right?
A natural way to go, did you say?
Yeah. So let's say if I go on stage, I need to be natural in order to make my speech to be successful. Am I right?
So see, for me, public speaking comes first. It's just generally about having a strong communication skill. Then comes, so I would actually backtrack a bit. Like when we go back to basic, we need to know that our is something that's there in my speech, right? I can't expect public to understand when I'm not. So I think when we go back to that, know that we've got confidence, and we've got clarity, and we've got consistency. When I say confidence, I mean confidence. When I say clarity, I mean clarity in speech and in thoughts, right? And when I say consistency, again in your thoughts and in your that sorted, you will be a natural on stage. Then that give it. But if you don't have these basics sorted, you will never feel natural on stage. You will feel that you're always, that's something that is something I would advise. I'm sorry, on through on Clubhouse, because I have in fact muted myself. Girish, would you like me to unmute, or am I okay saying mute?
Yeah, can we unmute yourself on Clubhouse and see what happens there? Yep. Yeah. How about now?
Okay, do give us your feedback as you did. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, so yes, that was our response to your question. Have the 3 C's. I swear about the 3 C's. You've got to have your confidence. You've got to have your clarity. You've got to have consistency in whatever your speech has to have. All these C's very evident, and only then you will come across as a confident speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
So regarding, okay, so you want to write everything down when whatever you speak, but do you do line by line, or is it by topic, or how does that work for you as a good speaker?
Do I? Repeat again. Sorry, I'm making you repeat these questions, but I can't hear them.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It seems like there's a lot of lag everywhere, but we'll manage as we can. That's not a big deal. What I'm saying is that, do you think that we should memorize our speech when we get on stage, or is it just easier to have?
No. Not at all. I'm not saying that. Never memorize, because you know what? The minute it sounds rehearsed, you've got no brownie points whatsoever. What I instead say, make sure that you follow a plan. That means you've got to be good with your preparation and your plan. Right? So once I said, like I said, know your target audience, know your public, and then you've got to sit down and chart out what is it that you are going to say. There has to be an order to your speech. For example, if you do a talk somewhere, you can't just go in and go without agenda. So have your pointers ready, have your tips ready, have your speech ready. If you want to write the whole thing out, please do. Whatever's comfortable to you. You go by pointers or you go by the whole spiel. But once you've done that, you go in and this is all you can do. Take a glance at it. But don't try and memorize it, because that delivery would not look natural. So I never go by memorizing. I look for my pointers and I go back up and say whatever I have to. Once that point is finished, I look back down on my keyboard and I go back up to yeah, that was the point. Or if it's on my laptop as a presentation, sometimes I have a teleprompter. If I'm doing an anchoring for an organization, they've given me a teleprompter, and teleprompter is just basically where the lines are written on a screen, and I can see that far behind, and that's just it. Somebody sitting there will be scrolling it, and I will be reading it very naturally. But I never memorize, because if you forget that one word or that one line, your brain is going to mess you up so bad that you would want to start from the very beginning. You would be fumbling. You'd be like, oh no, I missed that. What was that thing? Oh no, I was supposed to say that there and I didn't say it. Don't put that pressure on yourselves. You have to just have the pointers and go ahead and elaborate when you speak.
Yeah.
So yes, we talk about planning, talk about preparation, and of course, presentation. That's the key. And then the master of them all is the last P, which is practice. Unless you have practiced your thoughts on the day, you might just feel a bit bogged down by it. That this burden is so heavy. There's so many people in front of me.
Absolutely.
So if you are strong in your content and you're strong in your delivery, you will feel a lot more prepared.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Now, is it true that a person who's an introvert cannot excel being on stage as a good speaker?
I think what happens is with personalities, whether introvert or extrovert, we all fear it's the fear of judgment. That's what gets to us. Mm-hmm. So now with an extrovert personality, you pretty much just blurt out what's out there, because you're not very bothered about judgment around. And introvert with your own self. Right? So I am with my own thoughts. There's nobody to judge me as much, because I'm spending time with myself. The minute you put me on a stage, now I have all these eyes. Right now I'm out there and
unknown color.
Me wrong. I'd be like, oh, I can't do it because I'm not used to it. The problem also that is about introvert people is that they really want to be perfect in whatever they've now chosen to say. So by the time I fish through my thoughts and I pick the right thing, the moment is gone. So you didn't say anything and the moment is gone. It's because I was really analyzing a bit too much. So at the end of the day, it comes back to fear of judgment. I'm going to just say this, that it sounds a bit unfair, but we are in a world where we need to sell ourselves at all times, because we are judged at all times. It's just what it is. So that means that you've done it too. You're guilty. Whether you're an extrovert or you're an introvert, you've done it. Whether you go out and buy veggies, or you're going out to buy a big television, or you're going out to meet, have judgment written all over you. We are all judgmental. This is not right. This is too overpriced. That person was not okay. He shouldn't have done that. We all like to give a verdict, don't we? So now that you've been put on the stand, why are you feeling the fear? You're being judged, which is absolutely okay, because you do the same thing. Now, if everyone is doing that, it's not something to fear then anymore, is it?
Right.
Because it's a very common, basic thing. So go ahead, judge and be judged. There's nothing wrong with that. So when you let go of this feeling of judgment and you realize that I am strong in my content and I'm strong in my delivery and my presentation, we'll just see how it goes. There's nothing you can take as burden then. But the minute you have the burden of judgment on you, that's when fear comes in from here. And this is very different from butterflies. Let me say that. Butterflies in your tummy is not fear. That is actually you being sincere, right? That's your body actually telling you that you're going to do something that means something to you. It's important to you. So it's absolutely okay. So when I'm doing a big anchoring event and there's a crowd of 5,000 in front of me, I've had 15 years of experience in anchoring, and yet I will have butterflies in my chest.
Of course.
So as soon as I take stage and I start talking, they fly away somewhere.
Yeah,
so
but then
absolutely normal.
But it takes a while to get that confidence that, then when you're doing public speaking or a VJ the way you're doing it or anchor, it takes a while after experience that you are confident when you get on stage. Am I right?
It does. But at the same time, I don't that I was any less confident when I did my first show on television, right? But it's because my personality is different. At the same time, I have to say that experience does play a big role. So, for example, you know what cue cards are? Cue cards are basically cards we write on, our pointers on, and they're like little rectangular sheets, right? Of little hard card sheets.
Yeah.
So, the first time I did a show on stage for a very big corporate, I messed up. Not because I didn't have my content sorted. It's because at some point I had some 50 cue cards for the whole event. And when I tried to turn it, I dropped all of them. So now they were numbered. So now there is a number 3 in my hand, number 12 down there, number 50 over there. I'm like, what just happened? So it was just when I was announcing the name of the CEO of that company to come and speak. That's when this happened. Now, I don't know which card to pick. Where is that name of the CEO? So all of a sudden, what I did was the biggest blunder. And I tried to revive myself from it. But what happened was that I couldn't do much at that time. And I couldn't take his name. I actually just said, let's invite Mr. CEO, you know who you are. I didn't have a name. I didn't know what to do. But it was a very big corporate, and I could not relive, that again. And I was like, no way, I can't make that mistake. Experience talks. So from that minute on, I would only take 3 to 4 cards, not the 50, not the whole event. So that if 2 or 3 people, one can deal with that. 54, like a pack of cards, you can't deal with that. So what experience will bring is just that it will make you smarter and wiser to deal with situations more spontaneously. But whether it makes you a better speaker, I think that's questionable because you may have it from the very beginning and experience just adds on, or it's not ingrained in your personality, in which case it becomes a skill you must hone.
Yeah. Surpeet, thank you so much for all the experience that you have brought on this plate here. It seems like you have so much experience and so much knowledge on public speaking. And I've heard you in different shows and different YouTubes. You're just amazing rock star of May. So thank you again for being here on Back to Basics. And hopefully you will come back again. We'll chit chat again. It seems like I can talk to you for hours about anything, really. It's been almost like a couple of months that I've known you, and it's a great feeling. Thank you again.
It's a pleasure. Like I said, this is my forte. I have thought ages on this topic. In fact, I'm writing a book on this topic, which should be out end of this year. It's all to do with communication tips and how I want to combat this fear of talking. So yes, more on that later.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you again, Surpeet, for coming here. And any last words before you leave from my show today?
I think I'm just going to say, when it comes to communication, don't be too hard on yourselves. Like I said from the very beginning when we started the chat, it's the basic concept of passing the information that everybody understands in the most basic stuff. So don't look for big words. Big words don't make a communicator. Correct words do. So if a small word is doing the job, please use a small word. You don't have to use big word, right? So don't try and sound somebody you're not. And enjoy basic conversations. Back to basics.
Thank you so much, Surpeet, for coming here. And seriously, we'll keep in touch, obviously. And then obviously we'll go to Clubhouse and people will ask you questions if that's okay with you. So guys, before we log off today live on Instagram and all the platforms that I've done so far, go to my Instagram, type the word in my DM, type the word Surpeet, and you'll get the link for Clubhouse for today's interview. Right after this, we're just going to go and ask her questions, if that's okay with you. But before that, we're going to go and close the episode here by a small quote like Back to Basics usually does. And the quote of the day, what Back to Basic has today is, let me see here, communication 20%, what you know, 80% how you feel about what you know. I think that's what she said in a different way, in a different language, different verbiage. But guys, just keep in mind that that's what basic is all about. The basic speech is just to be confident and don't stutter or anything like that. Just be confident whenever you go there. If you mess up, that's okay, because that's the name of the game. You keep on improving each and day. So guys, take care, God bless, and I will see you next week on next week's episode on Back to Basics.
On that, if you feel comfortable. But I thought there's HIPAA laws that you can't go digital, or am I wrong now?
Well, I know that digital identity has been used in a variety of places, including at refugee camps. So, for example, in Jordan, they have very large refugee camps, and what was happening, and I know this from people that I know who have worked there, people had physical cards, right, that they would show to get meals and things like that and services. And there was violence in the camps, and these refugees were attacking one another to steal the